The final mad at the internet ever. Well, that's gonna suck then, because this one doesn't have any content to talk about. So it's just been it's strange because it's like the actual complaining. Like, okay, so gets mad at me. Says I'm mad as heck. I'm a big angry and I'm gonna rally my groomed minions to come after this website. And we're going to shut it down. We're going to shut her down right now. And joining the forces are people like Patrick Tomlinson, who, although is not a does have bitch tits and is fat. Then there's Ethan Ralph, who, while not a wants to fuck Keffels really badly. And then there's different it's just like a lot of fucking people who are like on Twitter saying we're angry and we're stupid and we're just going to scream. And that has accomplished absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing that they've set out to do has happened. However, there is currently someone who is denial of service attacking my provider. And the denial of service attack itself is being kind of mitigated, but the upstream is getting pissed off that we're being DDoS attacked. So they're just black holing our IPs. And that's not uncommon. Providers will do that. If you're being attacked, they will cut you off and null route your IP addresses so that they don't experience any downtime for other customers. So I'm assuming that the DDoS attack is large enough where other customers on their network are being negatively impacted. That's likely the situation. However, what's funny about this is that that's actually a crime. Like, in terms of like talking about, oh, you can't do this, you can't say this is stalking, harassment, suicide baiting, like whatever they say, you know, using compromised computers from around the world and attacking a service to shut it down extrajudicially like that is definitely a crime. So the whole gambit is, let's try and remove DDoS protection from this site so that we can DDoS it and get it shut down that way. And the really funny thing about that is they intend to do this by having our application layer denial of service attack shut down. But the issue is that I have my own IPs. My network is public. This is why I get all my complaints, and they don't go to an upstream provider. So you can just go to Google and type in my hosting company and find the subnet that I have, and then DDoS attack it, which is what people have done. And the issue with that is Cloudflare does nothing for that. The provider that they're going for does absolutely nothing. As long as they know the subnet, then they can just keep attacking it, which is why the site's down right now. If that wasn't the case, then yeah, I guess Cloudflare would be the linchpin. But all Cloudflare does is like minor CDN stuff for the Kiwi Farms. So it would be preposterous for them like to kick us off when they don't even really do anything that we desperately rely on that couldn't be easily replaced with like DDoS guard or some shit. So they take credit for this and they say, look, we've accomplished these great things, the site's down, but it's literally like a criminal who is just attacking not only my network but every network apparently nearby to piss off ISPs enough to have them black hole us. It's very perplexing. So during the downtime, people have come up, they've talked to me, and I said, we have backup plans, we have our own data center. So I have like 3 different data centers lined up. They're building the people I'm talking to are building a data center in Montana. So there's data center A, which I'm at, data center B, which I could be at, and data center C, which is being built by fucking weirdos from the Fediverse, which I'll be at if data center B kicks us off. So, Cloudflare or no Cloudflare, data center or no data center, like I have my IP allocation, and never in the history of the internet has somebody's internet resources been revoked for non-legal reasons. You get IP addresses and shit from a company called an RIR, a Regional Internet Registry. There are like 5 of these in the entire world. I cannot think of a single time that a regional internet registry has revoked an IP allocation because somebody complained. And similarly, there's domains and stuff like .com is owned by VeriSign. I've never heard of VeriSign revoking a domain name for reasons that were not legal. So the issue that they're going to come up against is eventually we're going to find a grounding that works for us again. And when we're there, the next steps are very scary. For like not for me in particular, I'm not worried about them, but for the internet as a whole, for our collective worldwide web, If they can convince an RIR to revoke my allocations and force me to, return the leased IP addresses, they have really fucked up the net. They've really fucked up the internet as a whole, because now anything is fair game. If they can, they have essentially forced into the hands of already massive corporations that control way too much of the internet. Who gets to stay online at the most basic level? Who gets to be a part of the internet? Who gets to join the internet? Will become like a controlled group where you have the RIRs gatekeeping who gets an IP address and for non-meritorious reasons. So if they really do go that route, it's over. The internet is going to be dead. The clear net, the ability for a small business to plug into the internet, get an IP address, host whatever they want within reasons for their local regulations, that's dead. That'll never come back, and we'll never see that again ever in human history. Because in early 2000s it was a wild west, where anything that, oh geez, I haven't muted my fucking thing again. My Wings of Redemption whimpering. But we'll never have that again if that's what happens, because there was a brief period of time, early 2000s, late 90s, where people could just plug in, host whatever they wanted, and nobody could say otherwise. And then what happened in the 2000s is that DDoS attacks became very sophisticated, and the resources of the net kind of merged together, and you had these massive monopolies. Only like the largest companies in the world can really afford to handle a DDoS attack on their own. When you have tens of gigabytes of data coming in, it's thousands of dollars to mitigate. Like per month, you're looking at a bill of tens of thousands of dollars just in bandwidth, never mind like hardware expenses. So they think it's funny, but it'll be bad. It will be effectively the end of the free internet if they can convince all the DDoS protectors to fuck off. If they can convince the internet registries to pick and choose who gets to have an allocation. It'll be the end of the build your own era. You'll never be able to build your own ever again. So that is the situation. Effectively on black hold because there's a DDoS attack. It has no service provider is like, we can't do business with you anymore because people are complaining. It's more that you're being DDoS attacked. We can't mitigate. By the way, I would have IP level filtering right now. This is a fun story, and I feel confident in talking about it now. We would have IPv4 filtering right now, so that our network is protected, because our ISP had Path. Path is a very common DDoS protector in a lot of circles, like BuyVM uses them, and they essentially do what Cloudflare does, but at a network level. And I had that service free, and we used it for a long time. And then suddenly they started black holing my IPs. And if I turned on DDoS protection through Path, I wouldn't get my internet would just go down for the Kiwi Farms. And I found out months later, because I received a complaint from my upstream saying that I had to remove a thread or censor information in a thread about a Path.net employee named Corey Barnhill, who is a pedophile, who is on record saying that he has forced his girlfriend to watch a little girl be anally raped. Just an open pedophile status attracted to children, working at Path.net. They asked me to censor this thread, and they said that they had a court order to do so. And I did censor it, and I said, I want to see this court order in a month. I want you to send me this court order saying I must take this down in a month. I never received it. And my upstream told me that it was a secret court order from a Canadian court that I'm not allowed to see and that they're not allowed to see. But it definitely says that everything about Corey Barnhill has to be scrubbed from the internet. And I said, that's ridiculous. So they then sent a cease and desist to upstream saying that you have to pull the hard drives of all the Kiwi Farm servers and hold them in storage and send them to us because we're suing. And my upstream said that's fucking ridiculous. We're not going to do that. And they sent my lawyer's email address to path.net, saying if you want to correspond, you have to do it through them. And that was risky for my upstream to do, because if they lost path.net as a filter, then they would lose that for all their customers. Isn't that lovely? So the work of right now was first laid by path.net and their pedophile C-level employee known as he goes by Augustus Hart now. He changed his name to the actual comic book character's name from the Zoom or whatever the fuck. And so from last I heard, he was a CTO. Path.net will never talk about Zoom or Corey. If you ask them about Corey, they will shut up. They'll say, I've never heard of Corey. He worked a while ago. He's gone now. But they have never spoken to me directly. They sent a C&D to my lawyer. And then after we told them to fuck off, we never heard anything back from them again. So we lost our DDoS protection from that. And then the can come in and just attack, and it's like, that's, we don't have anything to stop them. So the solutions for dealing with this are tricky, complicated, and mostly security through obscurity. You just have to kind of turn off the network and find clever routing tricks to prevent the DDoS attack from reaching the server while other sources can reach it safely. And that's what I've been messing with. I'm happy with the setup that we have now. But we're black holed again. So I'm working again to find a second solution. And that second solution is probably going to be hosting in multiple places at once. So even if one of our hosts go down, we can continue to stay up regardless of what's happening. And there won't be, like right now, if they say we're canceling you as a client, you have to find another host. The physical servers would have to be in transit. So it'd be like a week of downtime as the servers physically move from location A to location B. And we could avoid that by multi-homing. But the issue with multi-homing is you say, okay, I want to have 3 data centers that host all your stuff, but that increases the cost of your hosting 3 times, and it complicates the setup, it exposes new attack vectors and stuff, and it overall increases the burden, and spreads the one person working on all this more thin. So that is the situation.